is no me, it's we. You notice she makes a point to talk that way because she believes that is above criticism. Oh, because if they criticize this, they're going to look selfish. No, I mean, when there was Michael Jordan, there was Michael Jordan. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't believe that
Indiana Fever training camp did not make it through a single day before controversy surfaced, and the footage that has circulated since is generating significant discussion about the team's internal dynamics heading into the season. The clip at the center of the conversation shows Raven Johnson taking a visible step back as Caitlin Clark extended her hand for a high five. Johnson stepped away, dropped her head, and the exchange did not happen. The footage is being treated as unambiguous by most who have watched it. There is no collision or confusion, just a clear moment where one player moved away from another's outstretched hand.
That Stephanie White knows how to properly use a dynamic superstar. There it is. It's out in the open. I don't think she knows how to elevate and build the team and the system around the player. That's how that's supposed to work, is to build the team around the player, not force the player into.
The moment has spread rapidly across social media, and the responses have been sharp in multiple directions. Some viewers are directing criticism at the Indiana Fever front office for creating this situation by drafting Johnson at number 10, arguing that the tension between the two players was foreseeable the moment the pick was announced. Others have used the clip to push a false narrative blaming Clark for the lack of contact, a claim that does not hold up to what the footage actually shows. Beyond the Johnson situation, attention has also turned to head coach Stephanie White and her public messaging around the team's identity.
Not force the player into some predisposed system that you have. But let's start here. Let's start with the drama of Raven Clark deciding she's not going to high-five Caitlin Clark. And this is exactly what the Indiana Fever have brought on this season. The fact is, if you do not draft this person, I'm not making this video right now.
In media availability, White was direct about the organizational philosophy, emphasizing team over individual, collective chemistry over star-driven systems, and consistency as the foundation for success. She noted that the priority is integrating all players properly, including being mindful of managing reps for veterans like Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston as the longest season in WNBA history gets underway. Clark, for her part, addressed her own approach to the season directly. She made clear she is someone who does not want to sit out any reps and never has been, but acknowledged that being smarter about her body and recovery is part of operating through a long season.
Right now, we're not talking about this. But the fact is, all eyes are going to be on both of these players. And the Indiana Fever have nobody to blame but themselves, not the fans. Not the unhappy fans that warned you the very second that you announced your pick at number 10, you're inviting drama. You're inviting controversy.
She described last year's time on the sidelines as a humbling experience that gave her perspective on being a good teammate and leader. She confirmed she is fully healthy and has no restrictions going into camp. The question being raised in various corners of the conversation is whether White's system philosophy is well suited to building around a player of Clark's caliber. The argument being made is that historically, the teams that have gotten the most out of transformative individual talent have built their systems around that talent rather than expecting the talent to fit into a pre-existing framework.
You're inviting controversy. Here we are. Right here, that's Raven Johnson right there, takes a step back, blatantly takes a step back. No confusion. That's Raven Johnson. This arm is Caitlin Clark. Watch her come out. Raven Johnson's going to take a step away. No high five with Caitlin Clark. And
White's language about no superstars and team-first culture is being read by some as a structural mismatch with what Clark represents for the franchise, both on the court and in terms of the fan base and commercial attention she brings. The front office drafted Johnson knowing the history between her and Clark going back to their college careers. The controversy that has followed from day one of camp is being pointed to as a predictable consequence of that decision, and the organization now faces the challenge of managing that dynamic publicly while the team attempts to build genuine cohesion before the season begins. A training camp clip of Alyssa Thomas attempting jump shots has gone viral, circulating across multiple sports lowlight accounts and generating a wave of reactions.
I can tell you right now, it's already getting ugly on the social media streets out there. It's getting ugly. This gentleman says this is the culture and atmosphere the Fever want to build around Caitlin Clark. Imagine this video circulating on their first day of training camp with people creating a false narrative that Caitlin Clark is acting like a racist. I looked around. There are people that are calling Caitlin Clark a racist right now.
The footage shows Thomas struggling badly with her shooting mechanics, and it has reignited a broader conversation about where she actually stands as a player. The context behind the clip matters. Thomas has 2 torn labrums and has elected not to have surgery on either shoulder. That decision has visibly altered her shooting motion, producing a release that looks broken at the mechanical level, a shot put delivery rather than anything resembling a conventional jumper.
There are people that are calling Caitlin Clark a racist right now. When it was Raven Johnson that moved back and put her head down, which resulted in both of them not high-fiving each other. Now people are running with a completely false narrative. This front office is the worst imaginable. Here we are. Here we are. And if you want to criticize me making this video because you don't, I didn't draft Raven Johnson.
The counter-argument that comes up immediately is that she is playing through significant injury. The problem with that argument is that the surgery option exists. She is being paid to play professional basketball, and skipping unrivaled to get the procedure done was always a viable choice. Instead, the current situation is one where she is shooting like this by preference, not necessity.
I didn't put Raven Johnson on this team. I didn't cause her to step back away from Caitlin Clark. I didn't do any of that. I know what I just witnessed with my own eyes and what you just saw. I don't think there's any confusion there. I don't think there's any mistakes there. You don't have to make anything up. That's factually what we all witnessed. Plain and simple. But it's
what makes the clip land so hard is the disconnect between the visual and the reputation. Thomas finished in the top 3 of MVP voting last season. The WNBA has cited her name in statements about record viewership.
At a jump shot, she has 2 torn labrums. Why? What she's trying to do? I don't understand what she is working on here. I actually don't understand. And also, like, I understand she's got 2 torn labrums, but like, if you're able to get your arm into this position here, like, there shouldn't be an excuse for the jump shot being this broken. Like, she is literally Ben Simmons if you like basketball.
She is treated by the league and by a significant portion of the basketball conversation as a top 5 player. Watching that top 5 player go 1 for 3 on uncontested jump shots in a practice setting is jarring, and that jarring quality is exactly why the clip spread so quickly. The honest assessment of Thomas as a player is complicated.
She is Ben Simmons if you like basketball. Like Michael Red, did you ask her what was up? She has 2 torn labrums, and she chose not to have results as a result of her shot mechanics have completely changed. Why are they training traveling? She was top 3 in MVP votes. She's moving slow. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, this is not how we grow the game. I mean, this is literally somebody going and just videoing a front.
She does not have a reliable handle. Her finishing at the rim is mediocre. She cannot shoot.
Somebody going and just videoing a franchise player. Like, this is, that this is a bad sign. When, like, could you imagine if Caitlin Clark was doing a drill and someone videoed Caitlin Clark doing a drill and posted it, and people were like, "Oh, this isn't how you grow the game." It's like, well, I'm sorry. Are we supposed to pretend Alyssa Thomas doesn't exist as a player? Because the WNBA did say that people in the millions came to watch Alyssa Thomas. That is a quote from the WNBA. We have record viewership.
What she does have is physicality, defensive presence, above average passing, and a game built around contact. She drives into bodies, absorbs collisions, and forces the issue on every possession. The Mercury have constructed their entire offensive system around that approach, essentially building a team of shooters around a physical hub and running everything through her. The assist numbers that show up in her stat line are worth examining.
From the WNBA, we have record viewership to watch Alyssa Thomas. What stars like Alyssa Thomas? Yeah, that is a quote from the WNBA. People tell you it's a top 5 player, and the scary thing is, she is. With the way she's allowed to be refereed, she is. With a really good coach in Phoenix building an entire system around her. Like, it is basically like, could you imagine if prime Ben Simmons was aggressive, and the Sixers decided to surround Ben Simmons exclusively with shooters and run everything through him?
A significant portion come from dribble handoffs. She receives the ball, takes a step, hands it to a shooter who pulls up for 3, and the resulting made basket registers as her assist. Whether a dribble handoff assist should be valued, the same as a pass out of the pick and roll, is a legitimate debate. Nikola Jokic leads the NBA in assists every year, partly on the strength of that same action. He is not the best passer in the league, but the offensive hub role generates assist totals automatically.
And run everything through him. That is basically what Alyssa Thomas is. Like, that is a serious player. Like, she is the closest thing to a Giannis in the WNBA. And she's allowed offensive foul people. The scary thing is, like, people tell you it's a top 5 player. This is a top 5 player. It absolutely is a top 5 player. One of 3 in a practice clip when no one's guarding her. Yeah, I absolutely, but she still is the best engine not named Caitlin Clark for a team. I never look at the links the same way. You can't blame
the same dynamic applies here. The comparison that keeps coming up is Ben Simmons specifically. What prime Simmons might have looked like if the Sixers had surrounded him exclusively with shooters and built the system around his physical dominance rather than trying to force him into a traditional point guard role. Thomas is the closest thing the WNBA has to that profile.
It's the same way. You can't blame the Lynx. AT did blow out their star player's ankle. Like, she hedged up in a screen and ran through Nafisa Collier. Like, let's be completely real here. She injured the other team's best player. Alyssa Thomas thinks she is a top 5 player. And that's the scariest thing. This is a top 5 player, yeah. And the scary thing is that on every single...
She is a Giannis-type engine in terms of how a team is organized around her, without the shooting or the finishing that makes Giannis transcendent. The refereeing element is real and worth acknowledging. Thomas gets away with a level of physicality that other players do not.
The scary thing is that on every single brick center thing, this is being shown. It's not the pretty hoops, but why Young replies acting like she's not nice. Like, look, I mean this in terms of, like, she doesn't have a handle. Like, Alyssa Thomas does not have a handle, can't shoot, is a mediocre finisher, and is I'll give her above average passer. Like, she is an above average passer. But, like, she doesn't really run the pick and roll. She just drives and kicks.
The clip is bad, the shooting is broken, and she is still, somehow, a top-tier player, which might be the most uncomfortable thing about the whole situation for people who have to watch her do it.
Pick and roll. She just drives and kicks. She just plays rugby on the court and is allowed to do it. Like, if at any stage the referees change the rules and stop allowing the game to be so physical and call the offensive fouls when Alyssa Thomas runs through somebody, like, she goes from the 5th best player to the 15th best player at best. And I'll give her 15th because of her defense. But, yeah, all around, we're now at that stage of the year. We're at that stage of the year where we have a former All-NBA player